Feig. He's the director of the ill-fated 2016 Ghostbusters movie that nobody on planet Earth actually likes.
That masterpiece?
Yes, exactly, that masterpiece. Well, he wanted to figure out why his movie failed. So you know what he did? He put on his detective hat and his monocle, and he went out and he investigated why the hell the gender-swapped 2016 Ghostbusters movie failed. And he has finally gotten an answer. He's come to a conclusion. He says it was Donald Trump's fault. It was Donald Trump's fault that the movie failed. He investigated, and he says Trump came out against us. Remember, Trump was like, yeah, they're making the Ghostbusters women now. He says that clip, that's why Ghostbusters 2016 failed. Not the poor storytelling, not the awful, humor, which doesn't even line up with what the original Ghostbusters movie was like. Not all of that. It was Donald Trump's fault. So he says, this is his quote. He says, then Trump came out against us. He was like, they're making the Ghostbusters with only women. What's going on? And then got all upset. Everyone went effing cannibal. It turned the movie into a political statement, as if to say, if you're pro-women, you're going to see this. If you're not, then I don't think it mattered at all as the main characters were women, but people brought a lot of baggage. The problem is the stars acted the same way and complained about racism and sexism because people didn't like the trailer to their movie.
It's a definition of being a sore loser. Yeah. I mean, you see this with professional athletes, and they'll blame the refs for why they lost the game. And all that can have an impact, and that can be a factor, as is Trump's comments. Bro, you just went out there and played a bad game. You just went out there and put out bad art.
Well, my
I'm looking at other stuff he's produced too, and I've never heard of.
My dad's rule was, my dad was a hockey coach. He coached me when I played, and he said, "Look, if you lose a game by one call, you didn't do well enough to secure a victory."
100%. 100%.
If one call is enough to cost you a game, then that's your problem. Right?
Solid advice.
Right. Like, it's naive to think Trump's statement had no impact. Yep. I'm sure it did. But to say this is 100% the reason it flopped, bro, you're a sore loser, man.
No, gender swap characters is still a topic of contention to this day. To this day, it's a problem.
I don't remember when they gender swapped Ocean's 13? Was
Ocean's 8.
Ocean's 8.
No, that movie actually did fairly well given its budget size.
And I didn't really hear any complaints about.
The Oceans, there was a little bit. But look, I also make the point most of the time. I say, look, with gender and race swaps, if you get a good enough actor, they don't care. They did not secure actors that gave them any likability when they made Ghostbusters. Melissa McCarthy, Leslie Jones, like none of these people inspired any amount of confidence. It's also probably true that comedy is harder to do in that respect than a drama. If you race swap a character or gender swap a character in a dramatic role and you get a really, really good dramatic actor, people are going to have a lot less problems.
Right. But it's not get me the best actor anymore. It's get me, I need a black actor, an obese actor, and a disabled actor, and then whoever else.
There's a reason why when Idris Elba's name comes up when they talk about race swapping James Bond, even though I do think it is a mistake and they shouldn't do it, there's a reason why people will scoff less at him doing it than if you get just generic dude number 5 who nobody's ever heard of, right? People, Denzel Washington, I mentioned this, this came up on Friday as well during the show. I mentioned that Denzel Washington did Man on Fire, which was a race swap version of a movie from like a decade prior. He also did The Equalizer, which was also a race swap, but people don't see that. What they see is Denzel Washington. But that's what matters.
It's also this behavior and the rhetoric coming from these directors and writers and even actors and actresses sometimes that there's an expectation that you must enjoy this product. Yeah. And if you don't, you are the problem. And it's like, dude, no, you've completely lost the plot.
Also, people had been waiting a very, very, very long time to get new Ghostbusters content like this. And it was much better received when they went back and they did it was 2018 when they did Ghostbusters Afterlife, which pays very, very good attention to detail. It tells a different story. It doesn't try to follow the same formula. And it pays homage to Harold Ramis and all of this stuff. And the director, it was done with care and respect for the original source material in a way that the 2016 movie was not. It was not what people would call corporate slop.
Well, look at John Wick, right? They just put out their trailer for Ballerina. And you know what they didn't do? They didn't gender swap John Wick. It was they wanted, maybe Ana de Armas was just the best person that auditioned, but maybe they wanted a female protagonist. But they didn't just gender swap John Wick. They created a side story. Like, we're going to keep it in this universe, but we're going to tell a new story.
Plus, if you've seen the movie Knock Knock, you know that Ana de Armas beats John Wick any day of the week.
Yeah, for real.
Everyone knows that, right? And the great thing about that trailer was when they take the care in the trailer to explain that women are smaller and less. Did you watch the trailer for it?
Yeah.
It says you're smaller, you're weaker, you're always going to have a disadvantage. Cheat.
Yeah.
Like it's great. That's actually it's very good advice. Poke him in the eyes, kick him in the balls. That's what you have to do.
what I was
okay,
taught.
but
Yeah.
like that's hilarious and everything. But like when you are in the ocean and they teach you how to survive a shark attack, what do?
Okay.
You poke them in the eyes. You punch them in the gills, right? When there's something, an animal that's stronger than you got to do what works.
Yep. And here's the thing. So in the chat, Ben Ryder says Denzel is just a great actor. Yes, the best way to avoid any type of politicization of your character swap is to just hire a really good actor. Oddly enough, I did also make the point on Friday. I said they did a faux gender swap of Matlock. And I said, okay, fine. Then I want Murder, He Wrote with Keith David. But the point is, there's actually an Equalizer TV show with Queen Latifah,
Yes.
which just seems awful to me. But on network television, that stuff goes 5-6 seasons.
Yeah, she's on like 4 already, I think.
Yeah, it's already on like its 4th
Jeez.
season. I will never watch an episode of it, but network TV will take all the slop. Movie will not.
Yeah.
But even that, Queen Latifah's a bigger name than just a nobody. So you're probably coasting on her name and the name of the franchise alone, even if it's not that good.
And
Right?
she's like a 55-year-old bigger woman fighting crime,
Yeah.
beating up dudes.
Yeah, totally.
Well, you know,
believable.
Melissa McCarthy, she has a lot of I think she's got a handful of spy flicks where she's like an action star.
Those are comedies,
Sure,
like spy
but
flicks,
no one
though.
complains about that.
No.
Because it's an original story.
Yep.
You know, and that's all we're asking
Well,
of these
the
directors.
problem is what they risk is like nobody caring. That's honestly the risk.
Yeah.
There was a movie that came out like 2 years ago called The 355. It was a bunch of female spies. Literally nobody's seen it.
Interesting.
Never heard
yeah,
of it.
never
Charlie's
heard of it.
Angels already did it.
Charlie, well, yeah,
Like-
but that was already a female. Charlie's Angels is already a franchise, right?
Yeah.
And even that can be done wrong, as we learned in 2019 when they did the Elizabeth Mitchell, or what's her name, that version of it, which nobody liked and nobody saw. So, yeah, I don't think that it's really gonna. I don't think that it's Donald Trump's fault that your movie failed. I think that if one person tanked your movie, then you've got way worse problems.
What we're
going.
seeing right now reminds me of what you see with like industry and manufacturing in China, where they take a really great product and they just change it a little bit, make it cheaper, and you're like, this thing sucks. It's the knockoff version. That's what these movies are becoming. They're like, let's take this IP, Ghostbusters, let's change just a few parts of it, and then if people don't like it, well, the customers are the problem. And it's like, dude, like, I don't understand, like, sometimes it's hard to believe they're sincere when they come out and say these things.
Well, that's the problem. They never give you the benefit of the doubt. They always assume that it's some type of veil for misogyny or bigotry, when really your complaints are completely justified.
And this does it like, and because like there are atrocities in this world where there is like people that are actually misogynistic, right? But when you say everything is, it devalues the power of that word. And so people, like, when there's actual problems going on, people can be like, oh, whatever, I've heard that a million times. So it's like they're doing a disservice. A huge disservice.
You made a point
to
earlier
people.
that I think they misunderstand is how important successful original IP is. It's just you're not allowed to do that anymore. Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
I was going to bring up Buffy.
Buffy the
That's funny.
Vampire Slayer, was a film that was spun off to a television show, which then spun off a successful male franchise. Imagine that. Back in 1997, Sarah Michelle Gellar spun off David Boreanaz's career to create Angel. And how are you trying to tell me that we are somehow worse off now? No. The problem was, or the difference was, back then you had a very, very talented Joss Whedon who understood the characters that he was writing, gave you a unique style that has been copied to death by everyone in Hollywood since then. That's how influential it was. And he was known for creating tons of characters like that through many, many franchises. Like, one of the shows that I bring up all the time that only got 2 seasons was Dollhouse with Eliza Dushku,
love
which
that
was
show.
which was a really, really fun and unique sci-fi concept that didn't have to be. You didn't have to hear about how it had a woman in the lead role because the character was great. There was a lot of great emotional storytelling about her journey to figure out who she was and figure out what it was like, how she became this main active for this company. And then you get great actors like Tamo Pennicott and Harry Lennox in there, and it's like you surround a really good lead, regardless of gender, with really, really good actors around them. That had Amy Acker in it as well. Amy Acker is one of the most successful character actors that there is right now. And to say that there is some phantom bigotry that people are just looking for it, no, people can spot bullshit a mile away.
Well, and the other thing too is like, because in my head you're talking about that, I'm thinking of like. Quentin Tarantino, like a lot of times who he wants for certain roles, like will leak, right? Like his potential cast list. And I almost feel like today they're not even doing that anymore. They're like, okay, we need someone that fits these looks, right? Not ability, but we need someone that's a certain race, a certain gender, right? So they're not looking for the best person. They're just filling, like checking a box, like you said. And it's a terrible way to try to find success that way.
We see it in all the movies that are coming out.
Chair Relax mentioned Dark Angel, which launched Jessica Alba's career in
Dark Angel.
in the year 1999. There's just so many examples of it. I mentioned the show that I was rewatching Lost Girl recently, which was a sci-fi show. There's just too many examples. Like the problem is the examples you have to point out to people are original properties. They are not something that was taken from another creation, or if it was, it's obscure enough that most people haven't heard of it, so it doesn't receive the same backlash. I'm rewatching Haven right now with Emily Rose and Lucas Bryant, another show, science fiction led by a woman. Nobody cared. It was awesome.
If I was right now, if I was a big Hollywood investor or the head of a production company in Hollywood, if I see a director just taking something that already exists and trying to do a reboot, I'd blacklist them. Honestly, I'd write their name on a list and be like, okay, you're not serious about creating good art, so I don't want anything to do with you right now. Right? Like if you're just going to steal someone else's idea and try to piggyback off of it, nah, dude, no, that's not enough hustle for me.
Thanks for watching. Listen to full episodes of Pop Culture Crisis on Spotify.
Keep up with us on social media and make sure you subscribe and ring that bell so you never miss the show. Bye, guys.